Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, my friend, Jayson Thibault.
Hi, everybody. Hooray.
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 Happy to have you down here, man.
Glad to be here.
I'm not gonna mince words. We got a movie we got to talk about. It's here, it's now, it's Glass.
It is Glass.
M. Night Shyamalan's latest and greatest, question mark? No.
Question mark.
Probably not.
Definitely not.
What you originally were going to we were going to talk about another M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Village.
Right.
But you saw Glass and changed your mind.
I'm like, no, I still want to talk about a Shyamalan movie. But because what I hated about, we were talking about that and you're like, what's a movie that we were originally talking about? What's a movie you saw in the theater that you didn't like?
Right.
I'm talking about in the theater.
Yes. And
I remember that was the last movie I thought about walking out on.
The Village was. Okay.
And we said this, and in the first 5 minutes of that movie, I was like, this better not be modern times. And then 90 minutes later, a plane flies over, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yep.
Right in that moment, I'm like, I'm out. I stuck it out because I had 8 more minutes left of the movie.
Right. At that point, you're coming in pretty close on.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah. But then I saw Glass. And I loved Unbreakable.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked
Split.
Liked it. Didn't love it. But I was like, with Split, I was kind of like, maybe M. Night Shyamalan is back to his. Because I loved Sixth Sense was great.
Sixth Sense is great. Best Picture nominee.
It was great.
M. Night Shyamalan on the map because of
pretty much
Sixth Sense.
Pretty much. And then Unbreakable was after that, right?
Yes.
Also good. Like what? A year and a half later. Was that his next picture?
Yeah. Here's M. Night Shyamalan's full, as far as when he starts getting into being in the public eye. He goes Sixth Sense 99, Unbreakable 2000, Signs 02, The Village 2004.
Both of those I hated.
Noticeable drop in quality. Then Lady in the Water in 2006.
Didn't like it.
The Happening in 2008.
Didn't like it.
Last Airbender 2010.
Didn't like it.
After Earth 2013.
Forgot about that. Then also didn't like it.
Then he comes back up with The Visit, and then Split.
The Visit, okay. Yeah. So he man.
So The Visit he starts to come back with. I hadn't seen The Visit, but people gave that good reviews.
I didn't mind it.
Like it was good.
It was okay.
And then
Visit was all right.
Mm-hmm.
A B. I would give it a B.
And then Split.
Also would give it a B.
Okay. Fair. I think that's
more
pretty standard for it. Yeah, James McAvoy's
screenplay based. You could read The Sixth Sense screenplay and be like, "Wow, that was a good read."
Right.
I don't think you get that with Split.
No, you definitely would.
Split was performance based. I thought he did such a great job as that multifaceted character.
Yeah.
That it kind of, I wouldn't say it carried the movie, but it definitely kept you in.
Yeah, James McAvoy is such a compelling performer in that movie, and he has to be. I mean, the guy's got, 27 personalities he's supposed to juggle around, but you don't even really get to see those. You're juggling around between, 8 or 9?
When you watched Glass, did you stick around for the credits and everything?
I did.
Did you, were you hoping there'd be, a little something?
Yeah.
So did I.
So the first, that's as soon as the credits popped up on screen, the first thing I did was Google post-credit scene, and there's nothing.
See, I almost did that, but I was like, I'm going
to wait.
There was nobody around. I'm like, I'll just sit here. But what I noticed was, for James McAvoy's character, it listed every personality that he had in the credits. So it's all 17 of his personalities, which I thought was cool.
See, that's the thing about Split had the great moment at the very end, because it's not so Shyamalan-y, and the twist is, all of a sudden she's in the zoo, and they've been able to. It's so quick the whole time. That's not the twist. It's just it's a well-structured movie, and then after the credits, then you get, holy shit, it's in the same universe as Unbreakable.
Yeah. Shyamalan fucking Hitchcock-esque twist was that it's a fucking cliffhanger of a sequel.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But this movie is so Shyamalan-y, and I'm having a hard time explaining how I feel about this movie, and I only saw it. I saw it yesterday.
Let's get to this because you and I intentionally, when I said I saw it on Sunday, Sunday, yeah,
yes,
saw it Sunday, and then I was like, hey, I want to talk about this. You're like, fine, I'll go see it Tuesday or Monday before we do the show. I'll find some way to see it before we do this.
Yes.
So we intentionally, until right now, I don't even know what you think about it because I'm like, let's do it live.
Yeah.
Straight out, right out the front, just give me a grade.
It's 3 stars. It's totally out of 5.
Okay.
It's a fine movie, but here's the problem with the movie. Usually,
I have several.
Usually, and I have several too.
Okay.
Usually, a movie, it's like totally average. I wouldn't say, oh, this movie has a couple really cool parts. It's like a movie, like I would say Solo is a movie that's like totally fine, right? Like I don't regret watching it. I don't not regret watching it. Sure. It's just like middle of the road. Yep. If it's on AMC, I'll watch that kind of movie, right?
Sure.
Like a basic cable classic.
I didn't pay to see Solo, but I watched it on Netflix and I was like, that was a fine 90 minutes.
Yeah, see? It's fun.
Had I spent $35 on it, I might have a different opinion.
Right. Understandable. It's that kind of movie. It's a movie that's not good, it's not bad. Here's what the problem that I have with Split is, or with Glass, excuse me. Glass is...
By the way, can we say, spoiler alert?
Well, we're going to spoil the whole podcast.
Okay, so
we're spoiling this whole fucking thing.
If you haven't seen the film and you want to go see it, then,
go see it.
Listen to this after you see it. I'm not saying don't listen to this pod.
Right.
But if you really want to see it, then
leave this
go
be.
See it, and then hit play to this podcast
Go see this right now. It's a movie that feels like it's 2 different movies, and one of those movies is really, really good, and one of those movies is bad. One of those movies is so, so bad, and they smash together to make an okay movie.
Do you feel like he rushed this out?
No, I don't feel like he rushed this out. Do you?
Yeah.
What makes you feel like that?
There's a thing about him that because Hollywood loved him so much. M. Night Shyamalan I'm talking about. They loved him so much that he's like a band, right? So he had his entire life to write and think about Sixth Sense and Unbreakable.
Right.
And both of those did really well. And now he's like the Hollywood darling. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, we need you to keep pumping out albums.
Yeah.
Like that. So, like when everyone's like sophomore slump with an album, that's because you've had your entire music career to create 12 songs.
Exactly.
And it's a big hit album. And the industry is like, we need another album in the next 9 months.
And it's got to be as good as that first one.
And it never is.
Of course not.
Because you rush it out. I feel like he's been pumping out mediocrity. And then every now and then, once every 6-7 years, he puts out a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
In that window are 4 to 5 bad movies.
Yeah, for sure there are.
This
pretty much
one, because Split, they're like, hey, he's back. He did another good one.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knew that this was going to be a sequel or prequel or a combo or the baby of Unbreakable and Split.
Right.
That he had 11 to 12 months to put it out. When did Split come out?
Split came out in, I believe, January of 2016. It might have been February. I'm checking right now. So Split came out. Yeah, Split was released. It was premiered September 26, 2016. It was released in the U.S. on January 20th, 2017. So what happened was, and story-wise...
So we had 24 months to write, direct, shoot, edit, everything.
Mm-hmm. So
that seems rushed to me.
As soon as Split comes out and is critically acclaimed, February 2017, Shyamalan announces that Glass is going to be his next movie. He finished the script by April, and
April of 17 or 18?
April of 17. He wrote the script in about a month and a half.
Yeah, obviously.
And it shows. I mean, that's definitely one of the worst parts of the whole movie is the script. And just for context's sake, if you haven't, for whatever reason, picked up on the fact by now that we're talking about the movie that just came out last weekend, Glass.
Yep.
It is in the now called the East Rail 177 trilogy. It's basically Shyamalan's closer to this trilogy that he started in Unbreakable. And it's very much a commentary on superhero movies that's also trying to be its own superhero movie and start its own superhero franchise. I don't think that all of that works.
I got conceptually that's what it was the goal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they accomplished either.
Yeah.
They didn't set up any new superhero. They didn't have spoiler alert, everybody in this thing dies without any sort of resolution or any sort of anything. And they didn't set up like some little kid doing some superhero thing or some little anybody that would make me go, that's going to set up this sort of franchise. Like
Right.
There was no...
It's literally just the last shot of the movie is 3 people who are tangentially related to the 3 main characters just hanging out in a train station as this clip of the final fight scene goes viral and is like getting all this coverage. And then they're like, well, I guess maybe they're going to be superheroes now. And that's it.
Yeah.
You don't see anybody actually showing up with superpowers.
Also, Samuel Jackson's mother, who is 20 years younger than him.
It's crazy.
Literally, it looked like Leslie Jones in an old woman makeup.
It did.
And I'm like, this woman is clear. I mean, he looks like he's 80 and she looks like she's 60.
Yeah.
And that's your mom? Also, she has the oldest computer in the world in her house, which is congruent to an old lady.
Right.
All of a sudden, she's like this internet person that's just posting this on a blog and like...
Yeah, she understands how email works. Got out of town.
In the last 30 seconds of the movie.
One of the least believable parts of this movie is that you have a 60-year-old woman who understands how the internet works.
A 6-year-old woman with an 80-year-old son.
Exactly. No way. No fucking way, lady. No fucking way, M. Night Shyamalan.
There's no way that actress is older than him.
No.
There's no way.
Absolutely not.
Even just in casting, you couldn't get... But that's the same woman from the first one, right?
I think so. I believe it is.
The same actress?
I think it's the same actress.
I mean, it was Bruce Willis' son was a grown-up version of the same kid, which I liked how they did that.
I'm looking at her right now. Yeah, it's the same woman. 65 years old in real life.
And how old is Samuel L. Jackson?
Samuel L. Jackson is, Sammy, my boy, 70. And they aged him up in this movie, too, because he's supposed to be this decrepit guy who's been in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
And not just any mental hospital, a fucking state prison mental hospital for 19 years. And they aged him up. They didn't do a good job of aging the mom to be the appropriate age.
Another plot problem I had is this, whatever they are, a la the people that are trying to kill all the X-Men.
Right.
Whatever this thing is.
This is...
They touched on it so briefly. They just showed like a throwaway fucking interstitial shot of them being like, okay, we can talk about it now. Everybody's gone. They didn't really even touch on it. In the last few minutes, everybody had a shamrock tattoo.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
That's one of my...
They literally never talked about who these people are.
This movie, remember I said this is the most Shyamalan-y of Shyamalan movies?
Why do you say that?
Because because there's like 5 twists back to back to back to back to back.
That are misdirections.
That are total misdirects, and they don't add to each other. You can get away with 1 or 2 big misdirects in a movie, I think.
Yep.
Especially an M. Night Shyamalan movie where you already know...
Trying to throw me off the scent.
Exactly. I already know watching your movies, you're going to have a twist.
Yep.
That's what you do.
So now after 11 movies or whatever he's had, you are looking for that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I can see like breadcrumbs and stuff. Like anytime that you see Samuel L. Jackson doing something after maybe a third of the way through the movie, you're like, oh, this guy is playing all of them right now.
Sure.
But for them to be like, all of a sudden, oh, there's a secret society with the clover tattoos and the psychiatrist
all of a sudden,
lady.
The last 12 minutes of the movie.
Right, dude. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Made no sense.
It makes no sense in the context of the movie. I don't care about this. That's the part. Remember, this is the movie that I did not like. This is the movie that I absolutely thought ruined the rest of Glass. Is the whole story with the secret society and the psychiatrist, and I don't need any of that shit.
Nope.
I don't need any of it.
And it's also, if it's a comic book movie where people have these superpowers and all this, we really saw none of that.
Yeah.
Like, You know what I did love about it? The first quarter of the movie where Bruce Willis is working with his son and he's doing a thing where he walks by people and brushes against them and can see their thing.
Yeah.
And then and I'm like, okay, now we're getting, and then he goes and finds them and rescues them. I'm like, the whole movie should have been like
fun.
that.
It's great. Yes.
But then they get captured because all of a sudden they're like, here's what I really hated about it was I think he leaned on the character from Split to do. So they do this thing that I hated, which was, okay, they reveal like Bruce Willis is somehow Waters' weakness.
Right.
Maybe.
I mean, they reference it a little bit in Unbreakable, but it's never shown to like the extent that it is in this movie.
No. And then so they show that scene when he was a kid and all that. But he is virtually useless. Why even have Bruce Willis in this? He basically wasn't, other than the first quarter.
Right, he's sleepwalking through the movie.
Basically. And then with the other character, the guy with multiple personalities, they're like, every time we flash a light at you, you change characters. So the whole movie is just blink of light, and he's like, I do declare, and then flash of a light, I'm a baby, and then flash of a light. It's like he's doing stand-up.
Yeah.
It's like watching Robin Williams do fucking The Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Where he's like going in and out of characters left and right. That's what the fucking movie felt like to me. It was that, and I'm just like, man, if they keep doing this, I got so sick of the flash of the light, and then he's a different person.
I mean, it's like, cool, I get to see parts of the personality that we didn't get to see in Split. That's kind of nice and fun. But also
taking nothing away from his performance or how much. I mean, he is a really good actor,
and that's the problem with this movie is you have good actors. Like I think anytime James McAvoy is on screen, or once he really gets going and gets into it, Samuel L. Jackson's on screen. I think those parts are great, but it's carried by their performances.
Yep. Again,
it's a terrible script.
It's really, really, it's nonlinear in a bad way.
Yeah.
Nothing ties together. You don't get any sense of closure.
None.
There was nothing cinematically satisfying to me. I didn't, you know what I mean? The good guy doesn't get shit. The bad guys don't win.
Right.
The good guys don't win. Just this weird secret society is just.
And there's like a couple mistakes going on too, where it's like from a story standpoint, right? It's such a I feel like a mistake on M. Night Shyamalan's part to give Mr. Glass, who is a great character, and make him so useless in those last 15 minutes of the movie, where almost everything he's doing is just saying expository dialogue that is only like, hey, I'm here to explain what's happening to all you fucking dum-dums.
Almost narrative.
I hate it.
Yep.
It's a waste. It's such a waste.
Yeah.
When you see him pull off lines like first name Mr., last name Glass.
Twice.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. You can't have anybody. There's very few people besides Samuel L. Jackson who can pull off doing something like that.
Yeah.
But it's such a misuse of good actors to make them perform this script.
You have all of Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, McAvoy. You have all these great actors, but you don't let them do that, except for we're going to flash a light, and then you become a different person every single time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you're a guy from Boston. Now you're a fucking baby. Now you're a fucking 13-year-old. Now you're
you're a Japanese film professor. Now you're a fucking Southern
Japanese
Belle.
film professor is one. You're not even doing a bit.
I know.
He literally was it. Yeah.
Oh my God. He's Irish twin girls in this movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Dude, my biggest one though, the point where I was like, it's gonna. I knew when it was gonna take a bad turn. You want to talk about egomania? M. Night Shyamalan, who always puts himself in his own movies.
Oh yeah,
and his role gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep,
every time. It's not like just like Alfred Hitchcock is in a phone booth and you're like, oh, there he is in the background. No, he called back to his original character 15 years ago.
Right.
From Unbreakable. You know, when he bumped into him and when he's at the football stadium.
Right.
And he bumps into him and he kind of tries to like he frisks him and he's like, hey man, or he had pot on him or I don't remember what
something. He's like, and he goes like, oh, I used to hang out with some shady characters at the football stadium.
One, he's like, oh, hey, didn't you used to work at a football stadium 15 years ago? And I go, oh no. Is he giving himself a cameo callback?
And he did.
And he did. He goes, yeah, man, thanks to positive living, I've turned my whole life around. I'm no longer hanging out with shady people.
And that's also like, oh, clearly this is a commentary on what you're doing with your own film career, right?
Right there,
right, M. Night?
Right there, I'm like, this is about to take a turn for the worst. If you had to write that into the script, you're like, you know what would be good? How am I going to put myself in this? You know what I mean? You can see him doing that at a laptop.
Right.
What if I'm the character from Unbreakable 15 years later?
Yeah.
Why even put yourself in it?
There's no need.
What are you doing?
M. Night Shyamalan, that movie
was
proves
2 pages of a 90-page script was him writing himself into that scene.
Yeah.
There's no way that was less than 1 page.
Absolutely not.
That's 2 pages of 90 pages.
You know what? It was probably 3 pages, and they made him cut it to 2.
Probably.
They probably tried to get him to cut it to 1, and he was like, no. I need to make sure.
It's very important.
We have to make sure everybody knows what happened to
How many people were in the
my
theater when you
cameo.
saw it?
Man, not a lot. I saw it I saw it at 10:05 on a Monday night.
Late.
But there were still probably like 15 people in the theater. But here's how checked out.
Did anybody laugh at that scene?
No.
Same.
Here's how checked out people got. I was sitting in the movie. There was a whole row of probably 4 or 5 people behind me. By 2/3 into the movie, they were all talking. They were not paying attention to the movie. Actively having other conversations. Because you stop caring about things in this movie so quick. Because it's... Okay, let me talk about one of my least favorite parts of the whole movie.
Okay.
Sarah Paulson's character, the psychiatrist.
There was nothing about that I found believable, likable, intriguing. I didn't root against her or for her. I was just waiting for something to happen with that character.
Right.
Show me who you are. And then you never really got to see it till probably the extreme end.
Right.
When she had the tattoo and she's like, did I almost convince you that you're not who you are?
Right.
It's like, fuck that.
It's so stupid to have her be look, she can have a part in this movie. I'm not saying that there's no place for the Sarah Paulson psychiatrist character. There's no place for women in 2019. Okay. If Sarah Paulson and her character could have had a part in this movie, that would have made sense. But for her to have as big of a part and to detract, the movie
She had a bigger part than anybody else in this film.
The movie's called fucking Glass, man. It's not called Dr. Staple. This movie is supposed to be about these super powered individuals. It's not supposed to be about somebody who's trying to distract and and we only find out at the very end as someone who's like integral to the plot of the story. But is she really though? Do we care about any of this bullshit?
No, I was just constantly wondering what's her angle? Who is this person? I was waiting for I had different things when I was sitting there thinking maybe her parents were killed by one of these people. Maybe, all of that sort of shit.
Yeah.
I think one twist that he tried to do was the train.
Yeah.
His dad was on that train.
And it's not a bad twist.
Not bad at all. But had they shown us that halfway into the movie, every time Bruce Willis was fighting what's his McAvoy's character?
Yeah, Kevin Wendell Crumb, the Horde.
Yeah, the Horde. Every time they would start to fight or get into it, I would get up in my seat and be like, okay, finally, here we go.
Yep.
And they wouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let it happen.
Right. And there's some parts about this movie that...
When he was running on the ground, that was beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Let's see more of that shit.
Because here's the thing.
Everything that was cool about this, they stop it right when it starts. It literally gave me blue balls.
Yeah.
Action movie blue balls.
That's how I felt, man.
Yep.
This whole movie... like I said, there's 2 different movies. There's a movie that's actually like a good, fun superhero movie and a takeoff that's like a superhero movie that's an anti-superhero movie.
Yep.
I mean, I don't mind when you have Glass looking at the magazine cover and it literally says a new Marvel in the fucking Marvel font about all right, we're gonna go have this climactic battle. I don't mind not having a big climactic battle at this new. I'm cool with them having it at a parking lot instead of on a giant building.
Sure,
I'm cool with that. It's fine. It makes sense in the context of what I think M. Night Shyamalan is trying to do with the vibe of this trilogy and make a grounded superhero movie that's not also, hey, this is not The Dark Knight. This is not Avengers. This is nothing. This is not a superhero movie that you've seen before.
You can do a subtle superhero movie without it being grandiose
Yes.
and a fucking CGI nightmare.
Right. And I appreciate that he tried to do that. And there are some flashes.
Keyword.
There's some flashes where it pulled off, but he can't do the whole thing because he tried to shoehorn in all of this other stuff that I don't care about.
Yep.
What did you feel like watching this movie? Was your heart just like sinking further and further as you watched it in theaters?
I know. It was one of those things where I was like, like I said, it was like blue balls. It was like as it was going and as I'm watching it, I was constantly like, when is it gonna go down?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're waiting for something that never happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All they do is set up this fight. When he opened the door and he like looked up and saw him in a room across the hall.
Yeah.
Nothing. You got nothing out of that? Mm-hmm. Like that made me sit up. There's a lot of times it made me sit up and pay attention like, oh shit, here it comes.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get into it. When they both escaped and they got out and then, when they were about to fight and they first flashed the light on them.
That was fun too.
I was fine up from that point on. From the time they got captured on, I was emotionally checked out.
Yeah.
Because nothing happened.
There's no reason to care about these characters in the context that we are forced to watch them in.
It's like a hot chick comes over to your house and she's like talking about how horny she is. Mm-hmm. And, you pour a couple drinks for the two of you and then she passes out on your couch.
Yep.
That's what it felt like.
M. Night Shyamalan passed out on the couch before we got a chance to get a sweet superhero blowjob.
Exactly.
Or at least a handy. Come on,
Anything. Something,
please.
Give me a reason to take my pants off.
Oh, God. And I think, okay, there's all the like the filmmakery aspects of it. I think there's a lot of like really cool shots and the score I think is good. And there's a lot of stuff that are like on like the below the line side. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that works and is good. But you can't have a really beautifully made movie with a story that is this hard to get through. Is there anything that you think could have fixed this movie or saved this movie?
Boy, I mean, I think that everybody that's going to see this that is a fan of his and a fan of Unbreakable and Split, what do you want to see? You set it up in Split. Bruce Willis is going to come fix this guy. Mm-hmm. The good guy is going to get the bad guy, or the bad guy is going to get the good guy.
Right.
They never ever get to even do anything.
Yeah.
Really?
They don't.
They both kind of fought once. And then Bruce Willis gets basically killed by regular people.
Right.
And
he gets drowned by the SWAT team.
The Beast gets shot with like a regular bullet.
Yeah.
And just dies that easy.
It's insane.
I mean, he got shot by a shotgun in Split.
Yeah.
And it didn't even phase him. Mm-hmm. And now he just gets shot by a regular gun and dies. Mm-hmm. And Bruce Willis just gets his head held down by a regular man.
Right.
In a mud puddle.
All of a sudden... Yeah, you're done. That's what ends you.
And the point is this. The point of the movie is superheroes exist. And these guys were superhuman. They got killed just by like any one of us.
Right.
So really, they're not superheroes.
No, they're not.
If you really look at it.
And I think that's kind of what, on some level, M. Night Shyamalan wants, but it doesn't make sense for him to have all of this build up and to try and be like, I'm going to create a franchise here. Right. Whether or not this is something that continues or something that is contained within these three movies. I don't think it will. I just don't think it will. I don't know who's going to keep funding it.
What is the moniker? Rotten Tomatoes or what are the
on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got
28.
That's actually not quite that bad. It's got a 37% right now.
Okay.
It's got an average rating of 5.1.
How much has it done, money-wise, in a week? It came out last Friday, last Thursday night.
It did some good box office. It made $95.5 million on a $20 million budget.
And what's the big movie that it's competing with right now?
There isn't one.
Yeah,
I mean, if you go up, you're going up against now against Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston.
Okay, yeah.
But that's the thing with this movie is it's a January release date. January releases are historically movies that the studios know are going to be bad. Mm-hmm. So they get shoved off into this dead of winter when nobody's going out to watch movies because there's not the blockbusters out, man. Nobody gives a shit. And that's why, okay, Glass is going to do a lot of business. Glass is going to get a lot of people going to see it, a lot of curious eyes.
But then word of mouth will hit.
Yeah.
And then it'll like peak out at like 105.
Right. I think it's going to drop off significantly after this first weekend.
I mean, it's only been out for not even a week.
Right.
Came out Friday.
Yeah.
Thursday at midnight.
It's just got once you're actually in there, and it's so polarizing too, because that's the other thing that I've noticed about like reading the critical reviews.
What do you mean by that?
Well, some people are in sort of the same boat as you, where you just think it's really, really bad all the way through.
I thought it was the last 2/3 of it were bad.
Yeah.
The first third, I was like, dude, this is going exactly like I wanted to go.
Right.
And then it doesn't.
And that's basically where I'm at. I think there's a lot of stuff in that first third that's good. There's some stuff within those second 2/3 that has some potential.
I got another one too.
What? What you got?
The girl that he had captured forever.
Oh, yeah.
So first of all, Bruce Willis's son, blood relative, shows up and cannot visit his dad.
Right.
Who has historically been the good guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's never killed anybody. He's not a serial killer. He wasn't capturing women. He wasn't, killing girls left and right. You cannot see your dad. I apologize. You cannot talk to him. He's captured and sorry. Bye.
Right. Yeah.
And then the girl that was captured and basically saved in Split, go right in.
Get
talk
in there.
to him all you want.
How about you hug him?
How about you go in and you get to touch the guy that had you... What?
This is like
that
weird.
Makes no sense at all on any legal level.
It's such weird logic that doesn't make it. It makes no sense.
Did you think about that though?
Yeah, I was like, how is this allowed? How is she allowed? And also, how is the doctor? And how is nobody questioning her?
If you let that happen and you don't, 10 minutes before in the film, show Bruce Willis's son try to talk to his father,
right?
And they're like, "Sorry, you are not allowed to talk to him." And then this bitch shows up, and they're like, "Hey, go right on in, talk to him, hug him, unsupervised, go visit a serial killer." Essentially,
here, I'm even throw this one at you too. As far as people not acting believably, if she is supposed to be infiltrated this psychiatric hospital as like the member of a secret society, and she's trying to play it off like she is not a member of the secret society, right? Why doesn't she give a shit about the people who she's working with? Why does it take her so long once all of the shit is going down and you have 2 dead orderlies and you have people escaping? Why is she taking her sweet time getting to the office and figuring out, oh, fuck, we have people that are murdered by mental patients who have escaped? Why does it take her like 15, 20 minutes to figure that shit out?
Subsequently, when they first got into the fight, when he rescued those cheerleaders, and the same team of like whatever secret police or whatever they are, they had all those searchlights and a fucking water hose, and they could just easily neutralize both of them. Why didn't they use the same technology when they both escaped?
Right.
Why didn't they just shine the lights and then hose them down and block them back up again?
I mean,
they were so easy to capture early.
So easy.
They were so easy to capture the first third of the movie. And then at the end, they break out and everyone's baffled.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Just kill Glass if that's all you care about, because he's the one who orchestrated all this.
Yep.
Oh, my God. Anyway, so this movie also, for some reason, has some people who think this movie is 5 stars, beautiful, excellent movie.
Who besides M. Night Shyamalan?
Not a whole lot. There's a couple people like I'm gonna go read on. Let's take a look at Rotten Tomatoes right now. Let's see what the best reviews on Rotten Tomatoes have to say. Okay, Glass reviews. Oh my goodness. Fresh.
I mean, I wouldn't. Hate is a strong word. Disappointed is probably more apropos for me. This movie disappointed me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm also quite disappointed. This movie, here we go. For those intrigued but not anticipating too much, it's a sort of flawed but reasonably entertaining effort that can be viewed as glass half full. These are what the top critics are saying. Shyamalan's talent for primitive scares remains intact in Glass, as does his love for cramming a whole lot of story in one feature. If Unbreakable was ahead of the curve, arriving as it did on the cusp of the superhero movie boom, then Shyamalan's belated new sequel Glass is perversely and even admirably out of step. M. Night Shyamalan has crafted, and these are the good reviews. Wow. And this is still like
those weren't like ringing endorsements.
Exactly, absolutely. That's the top reviews of people. This is the best score. This is currently the best one right now. Original 3 out of 5. It is bold.
And it's 3 out of 5.
It's a 3 out of 5. That's the best thing that people can say about it.
What's bold about it?
I don't.
In your opinion, there's nothing bold about this.
What I'll say is that I think it takes some big swings, and I think a lot of things whiff. I think that cinematography wise and below the line wise, great,
absolutely
beautiful.
I agree with that.
I think that is what this movie has going for it. Is that it is a really
Whoever was a director of photography and great job,
well made, but it's so disappointing.
It's meandering.
Yeah.
It's meandering.
A 2-hour-long movie.
It's a bad script.
It's a bad script.
It's a great idea with a bad script.
Yeah. That's
why I feel like it was rushed.
Yeah. I think if maybe this had come out even a year later, it would have been so much better.
I totally agree with that.
Because then...
And I'm willing to wait.
I would have waited too.
I'm willing to wait.
Why not?
I mean, 100%. 100% I'm willing to wait for that.
Mm-hmm.
But shit, man. I don't know. And again, you said it good earlier. We're comparing it to Solo.
Right.
I saw Solo on Netflix. We talked about it a few weeks ago.
Right.
I had just seen it. Didn't see it in the theater. Star Wars fan, movie fit buff. I pretty much see everything, whether it's screeners or whatever. By the time the Academy Awards come out, I've, for the most part, seen everything by the time that comes out. Or I try to make it a point to at least watch all the nominated movies so I can have a dog in the fight when I watch the Oscars. Especially being a guy that lives in L.A. and lives in Hollywood. Like,
right,
it's
of course.
Oscars
Yeah,
here.
It's everywhere.
It's the Super Bowl of Hollywood.
Yes.
So I saw Solo and I'm like, you know what? Had I paid, it cost me, and I went alone, but the ticket was like $16. I had a popcorn and a Coke. So I spent upwards of $35 to watch this movie by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Had I been on a date, $70.
That's a lot. That's
a lot to walk out of there being like, eh.
Yeah.
But if I watched Glass on Netflix in 13 months, I'd have been like, it was whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but it was just whatever.
Here's what I'll say. I don't regret seeing this movie, and I'm glad that we watched it, because now I feel like I get at least a sense of closure of like, oh yeah, no, this is M. Night Shyamalan going back into his old patterns, where he's going to go and try and he's trying to revolutionize again, right? M. Night Shyamalan, when he first hit the scene and got popular, was like, oh, this guy's a revolutionary filmmaker.
Nope.
And no.
He was the new Hitchcock.
Proof he's not.
But he started drinking his own Kool-Aid, and he's like, I am the new Hitchcock.
Exactly.
You know?
That's a shame.
It's a shame.
M. Night Shyamalan is such, at this point, I mean, I watched, when we were talking about watching The Village before this, I watched The Village, and I regret watching The Village. I did not enjoy
You had seen
The
it
Village.
Before, though.
No, I'd never seen it.
You had never seen it?
I'd never seen it.
Let's talk about that a little bit, too, because we were talking about, that's the movie, because you're like, what movie have you seen? In particular, we were talking about in the theater that you were like, I regret seeing that, paying to see that. I regret paying to see that. We're not talking about HBO Go with your mom's account.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Netflix with your fucking roommate's account. We're talking about paying to see a fucking movie.
The best part about
The Village was the last one. I was like, man, fuck that movie when I left.
That's how I felt watching that movie.
This is the next one.
But this movie, and I don't quite feel that way about this movie. I definitely, at this point, I still give it 3 stars. But I think
I would give it 2.
I don't regret watching this movie, because
I regret paying to watch it.
At the very least. Yeah, I paid a lot. I paid like $17 to see this movie, and I paid like $35 too, because I got
popcorn,
a fucking
soda,
popcorn and a hot dog.
Whatever. Oh yeah, see?
Movie theater hot dog, baby.
Yep,
that's the best snack. But I watched this movie, and I remember on my way home from watching this movie, I was just like, huh.
Last night.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And I haven't felt that way about a movie besides the most recent round of like awards bait movies, where I'm like thinking about it afterwards. Because
what do you mean awards bait?
Well, I'm talking like the movies that are nominated, like all the Oscar nominated. Like The Favorite is one of my. I saw that movie and I was like thinking about it actively a lot on the way home from watching that movie. This movie also thinking about a lot on the way home from watching the movie, but in a very different way, because I wanted it to be. I guess I just wanted it to be a different movie than it turned out being.
I agree with that.
You know,
I wanted it to be a different movie. I didn't want it to necessarily go some way that I had predisposed thoughts of like, oh, I hope it goes this way.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it to go the way that it went.
Yeah. It just felt like a huge missed opportunity.
Humongous. Mm-hmm. And it still did $100 million.
Yeah.
In 5 days. In 5 days, it's done $100 million.
It's wild.
And it's, I want to say you're stealing people's money, but I can't imagine. Again, you just read the best reviews.
Yeah.
Which are like.
The best reviews are still like 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. I didn't kill myself. I guess it's okay.
It's it's definitely quirky, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was a movie.
It sure was. Yeah. That's how I feel about this movie. It sure was a movie.
You thought The Village was worse than this.
Definitely.
Me too.
Oh man, we should talk about that another time. But
for sure,
we do gotta wrap this one up. Jayson, thanks for keeping it current, man, and talking about Glass. This was a movie.
I would say I'm glad that we both saw it and could talk about it, but maybe I'm not.
Who knows? We'll figure it out. I think we'll both recover from this.
Yeah. Well, get your shit together, Shyamalan.
Please do.
Please.
God, make a good movie again.
I love when you're good.
Yeah.
When you're good, you're good. But stop rushing it out. Stop listening to the studio. Just do you.
Yeah.
Take your time, write a dope script, and, stop pushing out all this garbage, man.
You don't need to do it. Don't need to do it, M. Night. Obviously, of course, you have you've got some great podcasts and stuff that people should be listening to.
Punch Drunk. Punch Drunk is Ari Shafir and Sam Tripoli and I at All Things Comedy, and then I have one called 92.7 The Pod, which is more of a sketch show. It's a fake morning radio show about a fake city. So listen to both of those.
Give those a listen. And what's your social media again?
At The Teeb, TheTeeb, and on Twitter. And you can find all my stand-up dates and everything else right there.
Go find Teeb. Go give him a listen. Go give Punch Drunk and all of the Teeb productions a listen. It's all great stuff.
Please do.
You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram. jlightcomedy.com for show dates. And if you like this podcast, leave a review, subscribe, tell a friend, and get the word out. We got to get some new. I figured out the name for my fan base now.
Give it at least 3 stars. What is it?
The Blockheads.
Oh, I like that.
See, it's right there.
I like
it. Go share this. Make some new Blockheads, guys. This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.